Hello Internet, I'm Dan.
And I'm Chaz, and this is Wine is Serious Business, episode, I already forgot, 188. So, it's a Wednesday, you know, I only slept 2 hours a day. So, we're here drinking some wine, and some white wine on a hot summer day. We was trying to come up with something weird for the show. Thought, you know, like, hey, there's some weird whites on the market, or just some whites that are just not your standard white wines popping out of Oregon. So I had them on hand. I was like, we should do these for a show. So we've got two wines from excellent producers that we both know fairly well. The 2011 Eyrie Vineyards Original Vines Pinot Gris, kind of a rare bottling, but it's out in the market right now. And then the 2011 Johan Pinot Gris Drueskall, which is skin macerated Pinot Gris. So
yeah, so both rock solid producers, both
this one.
Kind of like unique takes on Pinot Gris. This Original Vines has never been done before. So the Eyrie Vineyards planted the first Pinot Gris in the United States in their vineyard in Dundee, and never before this year. You know, they talk about how they've experimented with different blends from the different plantings, but never before this year have they done a blend just of these Original Vines. So is it 46 years?
Yeah. So
yeah,
they were planted in 1967. So and the first wine was made from them in 1970, and then it said, at least a storyteller wrote a really good write-up about it, basically saying that they produced a small amount of it that they kept in-house, just of the Original Vine stuff every once in a while. But Jason got the idea to produce this wine and sell it to the public, and yeah, so here it is.
Yep. So 46-year-old Pinot Gris from the Dundee Hills, and no sulfur added to this as well.
Right. So natural winemaking, whatever you want to say, but yeah, no sulfur.
I've been excited to try this.
This your first time?
Yep.
Oh man, yeah. I bought a few bottles of this after I tasted it at the winery. So it's good stuff.
A lot going on.
Isn't that good? Yeah, it smells wonderful. So all stainless steel fermentation, left on the lees until bottling. Yeah.
This amazing lemon meringue thing, and then kind of like some maybe like oregano, herbs, a little bit of like lemon cream lingering. Like the nose has great complexity and just a sense of life to it. That's really exciting.
I get a little bit of like an oyster characteristic out of it. Think like oysters when they bring them to you and they got like a little bit of lemon juice on them. Yeah, there's like a little bit of like a sea salt, a sea component to it, which is really cool. But man, the lemons are just beautiful, and a little bit of richness to it, even though it's all stainless fermentation. Smells wonderful. It's all in the finish with this wine.
Yeah, really nice.
Man, sorry guys.
Yeah, really nice kind of round sensation sitting in the center of the palate. The lemons that are suggested by the nose definitely come through, but not really in a sharp acidic way. It's more, you know, kind of like lemons cooked into something where you get kind of that good fruity flavor, but still a sense of richness. And this isn't like heavy buttery or heavy oaky richness at all. It's just kind of like a full sense of the palate.
The palate really reminds me of sort of, I mean, you get the lemon characteristics you were talking about. Sort of fresh lemons to me. It's got sort of like a what's the apple here? I'm going blank.
Not the Granny Smith.
It's a yellow. It's like it's more like a yellow golden delicious. There we go.
Right.
Yeah, it's more like a golden delicious apple sort of characteristic. But for me, where this wine really is fantastic is when you start to swallow it into the finish. There's like an explosion of acidity and flavor that lingers on the palate, reminding me of like fresh limes, fresh lemons, and a little bit of like honeydew melon, which is just fantastic. Mom, leave me alone. Wow.
Put it in the freezer.
Yeah, I'm sticking in the freezer. Sorry, guys.
But yeah, it's really refreshing, and that sense of minerality, I guess, that you compare to oysters. Comes through a little bit on the finish too. I don't know if I would have identified it on my own, but after you saying it, like, it really does strike me that there is a real burst of flavor and complexity after you swallow, which kind of speaks well to the depth of the wine.
Yeah, and for that, really cool. Considering where this wine came from and what it's made from, they could probably charge a large amount for it. Mm-hmm. It's not terribly expensive, surprisingly. It's like $25 a bottle. Wow. $26 a bottle, somewhere in there. So
quite reasonable.
Yeah, quite reasonable, and really, really nice. I went, I think, 90 points on my first one. I'm going to agree with that one again. It's got great complexity. It's not a standard Pinot Gris. It doesn't give you the exact flavors that you expect from Oregon. It's a little more complex. It's something different, and it's really delicious. So.
And really approachable still for easy drinking. I was expecting this to be like a lot more serious and a lot like even like really contemplative and like small sips, but it's really refreshing and kind of enjoyable on the palate too. Like, I guess it's one of the nice things about the light white wines from around the world when they're done really well. Like, it just works, and it's just a really pleasing experience, both intellectually and casually.
What would you think? You score?
I didn't give it a score. I'm gonna have another sip.
Oh, go for it.
Get into the rinse, but. It's going to be 90 points for me too. Yeah, just solid flavors and I guess the sense of depth is what kind of makes it special to me, both on the nose and on the palate. Definitely check it out if you get a chance, and it's just kind of like a unique, just kind of like a unique moment in Oregon's history, right? That you can put in your glass. So.
Yeah, so for a wine geek, it's excellent. I wouldn't say for someone seeking something like toe curling, it's not that. It's not going to be this intellectual, new experience, but it's a really just different take, an interesting take on Oregon Pinot Gris, and the history is undeniable, which is really cool. So,
yeah, I haven't had one from Oregon like it, for sure. It stands unique there, so.
Absolutely.
Cool stuff.
Okay, so the next one we're doing is the 2011 Johan Pinot Gris Drueskall. I've been a huge fan of this wine ever since they first released it. The first release was just like, loved it. I blew it up on the Cellar Tracker. I was just so into it. So
I think it's the first skin macerated Pinot Gris that I remember trying. Maybe I had some in the past, but it was after I had this that I became aware of like the orange wine being kind of like a huge trend or whatever, and seeing more and more people making it. But this was my first exposure to it, or the first vintage of it. And so it's been fun for me to follow year after year. This is the 2011. They started putting some orange wax around the cap, which is a nice touch, I think.
Yeah, that's a nice package. So it looks good. So
and the wine's really colorful.
It is. Man, that looks rad. What color is that?
I don't know, orange. A little pinkish, a little pink.
Yeah,
in sunlight, like I drank some a couple weeks ago, and it's got a touch of rosé going on there. But man, in this light, it's super orange.
It just looks beautiful. Yeah, it looks like almost cloudy too. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, all biodynamic fruit, right? But yeah, biodynamic vineyard and winery. Mm-hmm. So these guys are always really committed to sustainable and true to terroir.
Smells awesome.
Yeah,
smells
kind of
good.
like earthy, smoky notes, and then like some bright, fruity notes to go with it. Kind of like strawberries too. Like there's something that reminds me of red fruit going on in the nose here.
I completely. So this smells a lot like a sour beer I drank over the weekend, like the Noyu from Cascade, which is done with like red fruit and aged on the it's a white ale aged on strawberries and raspberries or something like that. And
how do you feel about it?
I love it. It's one of my favorite Cascade beers, and this has got a whiff of that on the nose, which I'm really digging.
Let's see. There's a little bit of something funky going on here too, right? Like a little bit of forest floor kind of thing that I like. Again, man, 2 Pinot Gris with fantastic complexity on the nose.
Yeah.
You don't see that every day. Like that's.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing that got me so excited about this wine, and that continues every year, is that it's so different and it's so interesting. There's nothing like it in the valley. Like I can't name another bottling that is very similar.
Yeah, and including other people do skin macerated Pinot Gris, but this definitely stands on its own.
Yeah, so nose smells good. got a great texture.
And
Wow.
it's in a great place right now. Ooh. Great
That's
evolution.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely no gaps in that wine. It's got a sort of immediate, which is surprising for a white wine that just came out of the fridge, 15 minutes ago. It's got a pretty full texture in the mouth.
Totally.
I mean, some really, really good texture. And it goes really well with the fruit flavors. I'm getting sort of like an orange peelish, a touch of apple, and like a bunch of red fruit as well, which is very strange. Like it's all over the place, which I really like. Previous vintages of this have been a little more funky, like a little more earth driven.
Yep.
This is more fruit driven. If you know
agree.
this wine, this one's a little less funky. So
And more of a crowd pleaser. Like as I've shared other bottles of this, a lot of people who are maybe even a little skeptical or whatever, like it grabs people's attention right away.
No
And
doubt.
I think that fruity character is definitely a big part of it. But the tannins, I think, are in a great place where they give
there's
some,
like a little bit of tannin grip to it. Which
yeah,
is cool.
but they're generally soft. They give this feeling of fullness without being too sharp. And it's similar to this, like after you swallow, like good things are happening on the palate too. Like fruit flavors stick around. The acidity is like really got great texture to it. It's just in a good place. Kind of makes the mouth water, but it never gets sharp.
And there's no gaps. I mean, from the fullness of the body to the fruit flavors, the intensity of the structure, all of it's pretty damn well in balance.
Yeah.
And it's just complex, has really good evolution. It's great job, guys.
Yeah,
2011 Drueskall's killing it. So 92 plus for me.
Wow.
I tend to score these really high just because I really like them. No,
This is delicious.
It's what I like.
This is delicious. Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoy it. This one is fantastic. I mean, I would do with a little more earthy funkiness to it. I have scored these higher in the past, but this one is just wonderful. I think I agree with Dan. This is going to be more of a crowd pleaser, and a lot of people will get excited about this one to try it. So,
And yeah, like it's gonna be 91 for me, and I feel weird about this. Like I guess my scales crept up in the last. Who knows if that'll last?
Crept up or
the past
crept
few shows? No, it crept up.
yeah.
Yeah, and then the last.
Purple Giant.
in the last couple months or whatever. But I'm feeling it.
It's the summer months.
This is my favorite vintage of this ever produced.
Rad.
And yeah,
that's good to hear.
And yeah, I say yeah, that's a lot of enthusiasm behind it. So check it out if you get the chance. And also, we've discovered, kind of unfortunately, that these wines don't age as well in our experience. So, don't have big long-term plans for it. Like, get them and drink them now because they are so delicious.
Yeah. Don't hold on to them. Just drink them at random.
Yeah, and share them with people, because this is like a way to introduce people to the potential of Pinot Gris, and B, to introduce people to orange wines. So I usually like to rip on Pinot Gris. I'm usually not a fan. Boy, the vast majority, the vast majority of them I don't like and I'm not too interested in. But today is really making me think more about the grape. And honestly, like even with kind of my local experience that I've had, making me more interested in trying more that's produced by more people.
Right.
And really want to encourage other winemakers to, put some heart into the Pinot Gris.
And push the boundaries. I mean, experiment with different things. I mean, this is, I think, an experiment on a Northern Italian style of producing it that, man, really works,
Totally works.
It's good. Anyway.
And great to have a chance to taste some old wine stuff. I wonder, again, maybe a couple times, but it's rare that in my life I've tasted Pinot Gris with that much fine age on it.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
Cool
Great
stuff.
show, yeah. I'm happy with these wines. Really happy with them.
I guess that leads into an easy question of the day.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about a grape that you didn't like at first that you kind of came around to later? I think almost everybody's had that experience, and we'd love to hear about it.
What's yours? Is yours Pinot Gris?
Well, Pinot Gris is kind of happening right now. Yeah. I'll stick with that.
Right.
Is everyone-
Syrah is mine.
Sure.
I was a Syrah. Well, I mean, I think I liked it early on, and then I started hating it because I was into like the big oaky styles. And I had this like renaissance with like younger, you know, lighter wine, lower alcohol wine, and just not overdone wine. And just have had some in the last year that have really turned me on to what Syrah is capable of. I think it, you know, behind Pinot Noir obviously, and maybe Chardonnay, it expresses terroir really well. So, yeah. Anyway, that's my other one.
Cool. Thanks for watching. See you guys in a week.
Bye.